So I looked up this AI service. In it, I went to it and I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Like, it literally, AI will go through your episode, do everything that we do for $97 a month. Now, here's the thing. Welcome back to a brand new episode of the 8-Figure Agency Show, where a successful entrepreneur and a soon-to-be successful entrepreneur help you build an 8-figure agency by documenting our successes and our failures. And today, ladies and gentlemen, have we got a good one for you. Gary and I have talked about this in the past in this episode right here about an upcoming recession. And now it's February 2023. And guys, I mean, we are basically here. So today, Gary and I want to dive into the current state of the economy, what the current state of the market is, what we're seeing in both of our agencies, and how that might be affecting you guys as well. So Gary, how are we doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing good. So yeah, we're definitely in the middle of the recession. People spending, every agency I've talked to, they saw a massive increase in churn. Now, part of that is going into January. That always happens, New Year, and all that kind of stuff. But you're also seeing it in just people having more churn overall. And that is definitely impacting people. The other thing that you're noticing is that your clients will start to feel the clamps from existing customers spending less. And that, of course, and I'll give you an example. So somebody used to go to a restaurant and buy $50 in food was your average ticket. Now they might be coming to the restaurant and only spending $30. And so when you have that creates a lot of pressure on those businesses, which one of the decisions that they'll usually end up making is, how do we cut cost? And usually marketing is on the table because you're an external asset. You're an external part of their team. So you're the easiest mark for them to be able to make a change there and to cut some costs. So we're in the middle of that. It's definitely hitting everybody. There's nobody that I've talked to who's immune to this. That doesn't mean, though, this doesn't mean that you can't grow and you can't get better. And it also doesn't mean, it actually means the opposite of what you think it means if you're brand spanking new. So we can talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess one thing I'd love to touch on for a little bit more context, like that restaurant example, I think the problem, and a couple of our viewers have asked us about this, is, a restaurant looks to cut costs. Like a client or a customer, a guest will spend $50 back in the day. Now they're spending $30. But what about in the situation, Gary, which is what we're seeing now around the entire world, is when the restaurant can't even lower their prices to suffice for the different type of demand. In other words, what was before they might have been able to buy for $30. Now that same $30 needs to be $50 because the cost of goods went up for the restaurant.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's not a lot you can do. That's the inflation. They've slowed inflation down. So what they do to offset inflation is they start to raise interest rates, which slows down the circulation of money, which means then prices come down. When you have too much money in the system and people are buying things like crazy, it causes prices to go up because there's not enough supply to meet the demand. So you have to slow down that supply and demand, and you do that by increasing interest rates. And that's what we're seeing right now. We're seeing a slowdown of demand. Inflation is going to become less of a problem. So that it's still a problem. Like things costing more is a problem, but they're getting that under control. It's slowed down substantially. And the reason, here's the interesting thing, Derek, the federal government, is more concerned with inflation than they are with recession. Recession, slowing down the economy and putting the clamps on the economy, is easier to solve than if you have runaway inflation. If you have runaway inflation, there really is no solve for it. So you have to get that under check. So that the government's actually pushing us into a recession on purpose.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the secondary thing to the recession is how is this affecting the agency space and the marketing space? And you've kind of touched on this, but what I'd love to do right now, Gary, is kind of dive into briefly where I'm at in terms of my company, give the audience and the listeners here a quick update, the state of my company. So for those of you who are not familiar, I run a media company where we work with some of the top creators and podcasts in the world, and we redistribute their long-form stories into short-form stories, right? Bottom line, we go through their long-form content, find those hidden gems, and we clip them up for TikTok, Instagram Reels, and YouTube Shorts. We were one of the first in the game. We were starting to do this before literally anybody else was doing this to the scale we were doing it. Allowed us to get some really high-profile clients like all of these guys. And now a year and a half later, what's the current situation? So, Gary, I have watched firsthand, and you have guided me through this, and you have seen me go through this, and you said this would happen. You called this. I wish we could find that exact clip in an 8-Fig episode back in like June or July when we first started this show. But you called it. You said this is going to happen when you mentioned about being commoditized, and I'll explain what that means in just a moment. But what has happened? We went from little to no competition to being the market leader to everybody and their mother wanting to be a short form editing agency. And despite fighting really hard not to be commoditized, we are being commoditized unintentionally. Despite us trying to say we're not editors, we're short form story creators, and we find those stories, we are still being commoditized. I have went from having consistently at least, and this might sound like very little, and it is, right? But at the time, comparatively to now, it's pretty high. At least 1 to 2 sales meeting a week, down to maybe 1 or 2 a month. And I have 2 BDRs sending over 80 messages a day right now, and we're still not able to land these sales meetings, which is just a testament to the market as to how much competition we are.
Yeah.
When we're getting responses to these cold outreach messages, it's always like, what are your prices? We give them our prices. They say we're crazy. And the problem is we're giving them the lower prices now, and we can't afford to go any lower because of the size of the team and how much it costs for us to fill on the work. And I'll explain about that in just a second. But the other responses we're getting is, sorry, we already have a team in this, or our guy offered to do 30 clips for $500 a month or 30 clips for $1,000 a month. And I'm looking at these numbers and I'm like, how are they fulfilling on this work? Here's the problem. The video editing world has been flooded with the international editors, right? So India, Philippines, places like that have been absolutely flooded. And what has happened is these people have undercut the prices of the people that are offering it domestically in the US. And what that is leading to is a massive, massive, massive competition level.
Yep.
So all the people that we were competing to capture that we were winning before are now going to try that other end of the market where it's way cheaper. But Gary, what I kind of see happening is those people are going to flop. And I'm starting to see this little by little. They are bombing it. The transcriptions are coming back wrong. Clients are not getting the results they want. They're not investing enough. They come back to us in the end. And whenever I get on a meeting, the people are like, I tried it with these other people. Their work wasn't as good. I was like, listen, you should have just went with us in the first place and invested the extra $1,000. You've never had the transcription issues. Okay, what are your thoughts? What's your take? And are you seeing a similar thing in the dental world?
Well, no, in the dental world, no, we don't have that. Well, a little bit. I guess the closest thing in the dental world is people going to vacation dentistry. It's called destination dentistry, where they'll travel to Mexico or the Philippines, take a vacation there, and then get their dental work done there. And the amount of money that they save on the dental work gives them a vacation while they're there as well. Obviously, there's major risks involved with that. You can get sick or diseases or, you know what I mean, all kinds of different things. They play by a different set of rules over there. So that's the closest thing I can compare to that. Not a big issue there, but where I have seen this, Derek, I actually tried to do all my shorts myself initially, and I ran into all those problems. I tried everybody. Like I tried a bunch of people overseas. I tried people who weren't naturally short editors, but it's starting to what's going to happen there is that there's going to be software and stuff that edits some of this stuff, right? So, but the trick is going to be still to pick the right spots. Like that's going to be the hard part of if you have an hour-long video, how do you pick the best parts? And what do I cut out and what do I don't cut out? The things that I feel like should be cut out might not get cut out and vice versa. So I think that's still going to be your unique positioning, and where it's going to still create opportunity for you is like, no, we do videos that actually get you results. And what are those results? And that's where we've talked about before is where your biggest opportunity is to move that needle down a little bit further into their sales cycle of like, hey, this view actually is going to mean something. Here's what it's going to mean to your business directly.
That's what we've been trying to figure out. And, for context, how we're thinking about this, right? I'm not just like rolling over and letting people stomp all over me. I'm competing and I'm going to win. So how am I planning on doing that? One of the biggest things is I was trying to think, how can I come up with a guarantee? So I kind of figured like, okay, what can I guarantee? I can't guarantee revenue. I can't even really guarantee results because it's so at the whim of the platforms at certain times. All I can guarantee is the following. I guarantee that you will never have to worry about short form content ever again if you go with us. It's going to be completely passively. You're never going to have to worry about a post being missed. You're never going to have to worry about the wrong clip being sourced. You're never going to have to worry about it being off brand. And the investment you make with us is less than half the cost of a full-time employee. And I think where we're going to win over the next 5 to 10 years, Gary, is, being consistent in this and staying in this game is that clip sourcing, even with AI. Like somebody needs to use the AI. It's not going to be automated, right? we'll be the people that can make that happen, right? And it would be stupid of us not to implement those types of things. I actually had a guy who answered one of my cold emails the other day, and when I told him my price, he's like, "Are you out of your mind?" I was like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "What do you guys pay now?" He's like, "I pay $97 per month for an AI service." So I looked up this AI service. In it, I went to it and I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Like, it literally, AI will go through your episode, do everything that we do for $97 a month. Now, here's the thing. The videos are pretty bad. So this is the trade-off. They are pretty bad. They are not performing well. They're missing context. They're edited pretty poorly. They don't fit the platforms. So yeah, while that solution is there, it's nowhere near the level that it needs to be to create clips like this, right? And what I'm showing on screen right now is a client we're about to cross 1 million followers for. Like, these edits are way more complex, way more high level. What do you think? How long do you think until AI takes over a lot of this?
Well, that's what I was going to ask you is, like, how long do you think we have? You know what I mean? Like, how long is it until AI can not only build the video? So here's the thing that I think is interesting and where I think it'll go, Derek. I think people like you are going to tell people like me, Gary, just make 10 videos on this and it'll be good. And then you'll go into a search. I'll say, agreed. You'll go into a little chat bot and you'll type in, make a video of Gary saying these things about this topic, and it'll pull from all my old videos, make a deep fake of myself saying these things that I agree with, and you'll create original content and you'll be able to crank it out really fast. Now, at that point, once that becomes cheap and everybody's able to do it, the content will not have as much value anymore. Like, it's not, the creator won't have as much value. The person making the content won't have as much value, just because there'll be tons and tons and tons of information. So at that point, there's going to have to be a new way that we're going to communicate, but I don't know what that is yet.
Yeah, I want to mention two things. That number one, it's why I'm really trying to find ways to get closer to the money. Like, I'm really working hard, and every day that's my number one focus. Like, even if I don't do any work, I will literally not review videos or not do stuff in my business to ideate on this, because I'm really concerned about it. We are going to get priced out of the market. We are going to lose clients, and we are going to churn out of a business because we're not close enough to the money. So I'm trying to nail down an offer where I can literally say, hey, you give us this much, I'm going to give you back this much every single month. It makes it a no-brainer to invest with us. And I don't care what AI comes in.
Yeah.
Any AI that happens in that market is just going to help us create more and better results.
Exactly.
Whether it's tracking data, I just want to get closer to the money. But hey, quick aside, Gary, and I want to get your live reaction to this. This is a $1 billion AI idea that I had the other day, and I want to share it with you and everybody else. So imagine there was an AI for travel where you go to the travel AI and you say, I want to plan a trip to France, to Paris. This is my budget. This is my times. Make it happen for me. And instantly the AI will find all the flights, all the hotels, all the accommodation, all the experiences, and all the restaurants for you instantly that fits your budget within your dates. And Gary, here's the kicker. How does the AI make money? At the very bottom is a single book now button where we can take the credit card information, where it will instantly book all the flights, all the hotels, all the restaurants, and we get a percentage of that.
That's a great
idea.
Think?
Is that $1 billion idea?
Well, it's basically what you did is those are travel agents. So there's before the internet, there was travel agents, and they're still out there. And I've used one recently. So I told him, I said, I want to go to Costa Rica. He said, all right. He said, here's the plane that you're going to want to take. Here's what city you're going to fly into. I already got a house there for you. Then you're going to go to this hotel. Then you're going to go over here. And here's the restaurants you want to go to. Already had everything planned end to end. And it wasn't that expensive. And so, yeah, that already exists in travel agents. But if you had AI to do it, that would be amazing. And then the AI could probably get you bulk discounts too. So not only does the AI make money, but then you could also get the flight or get the whole package cheaper by having them do it all together.
And the beauty of it is, Gary, it would be free to the customer. Mm-hmm. So the AI would only make money on the back end from the bulk discount, and we would take the fee. We could take advantage of the bulk discount. I really want to drop everything and build this, but I have no idea how to code. I feel like this is a $10
let me test you. Let's drop everything that we're doing and go focus on this.
No, definitely not.
Okay,
Shiny object syndrome.
You passed the test.
Shiny object syndrome.
But passed the test.
Listen, that's an idea. I will not be surprised when that comes up. My only thing is, like, if you build something like that, it's a matter of time till you mentioned this actually recently in a clip. It's a matter of time till it all becomes one AI. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if you can do that with ChatGPT already.
Yeah.
With the new Bing integration.
No. ChatGPT will plan it. I've already used it to plan a trip. I was like, hey, I want to go down here. I want to go to all the best restaurants. I want to go.
Oh, wow.
It didn't book it. It didn't book it for me, right? Like,
that's the only thing.
Yeah, we talked about that. Like, man, that would be awesome if it could book it. But yeah, it already has the way to find the best restaurants and find the best tourist spots to go, seeing statues or whatever, right? Museums. So yeah, we're definitely right there. I just downloaded, I don't know if you saw it, but Bing, or really they're calling it Edge, where they take Bing and ChatGPT and mix it together.
Yeah.
I downloaded that. I want my hands on that. I don't even like Microsoft, but I want my hands on that thing as soon as it comes out. So cool. Like what it's going to do. And I don't know if you saw it, but Google actually did their launch of their AI, and they lost $100 billion in stock because of the way they rolled out their AI. It had incorrect information. It had also it just seemed like very broken and discombobulated. And as on live TV, as they're doing this presentation, their stock just goes bloop.
Wow.
And lost $100 billion in valuation.
Wow, that's crazy. That's definitely getting clipped right there. That's definitely getting clipped. But
I knew that's why I said it like that.
That is really, really crazy. I actually did see that $100 billion lost. I don't like Bing, so I hope Google comes with something a bit better so I could use it right in Chrome.
Have you used Compose?
I don't even know what that is.
So Compose AI is one that you can basically use ChatGPT in all your Google products. So you just type // and it pulls up a prompter inside your email. Just say, write a rejection response to this email. Boom, and it'll just type it up for you in context of the email, and you can do it in Google Docs as well.
This is crazy. This is happening way too. Bro,
it's about to go fast. It's about to go fast because the reason I know it's going to go fast, Derek, is ChatGPT grew to 100 million in 4 days. Yeah. No other platform's ever grown that fast, ever. And not the internet, not social media, not Instagram, not Netflix, not Airbnb.
Angry Birds.
None of them. This is flying way faster, and it's only going to go faster and faster.
It beat Angry Birds. Angry Birds was 1 million uses in 34 days, and ChatGPT was 5 days. But Gary, listen, I think we should do a whole new episode on AI and how AI is going to affect the marketing industry and your prediction for the future.
Stuff,
yeah, I'm down to do that. We should film that next. But hey, tying it back to what we were talking about here, Gary. So overall, the slowdown in the market, right? AI is a big factor in it, of course. But what are some tactical things we could cover in the next 10 minutes here that anybody listening to this, whether they're just starting their agency or they have an established agency like myself or a little bit further ahead of me, can do to tactically prepare for this slowdown in the market, right? A lot of people are going to start cutting expenses. I'm looking at doing that. Like I'm like, okay, we're not growing. We're not getting new clients. So I'm investing in sales. Like what's happening here?
Yeah. So you can grow in these markets. So number one, if you're small, this is your opportunity. This is it, because you're going to be able, the reason that people can come in and offer clips of videos for so cheap is because they're a one-man team, Derek. That's really what it boils down to. And they're just like, I'll just do it for you. I'll only charge you this much. And even at your size, Derek, you can't compete with that. You're like, if they do a good, let's pretend there's a guy out there just doing video editing and he's amazing at it and he can pick the best clips and it's just him. You can't compete with that from a price standpoint. It's just not possible. You don't have the economy of scale yet. So the bigger companies also move slower. So it's harder for a big company to integrate, like that one person team, he can integrate AI tomorrow into all of his processes, doesn't even have to talk to anybody. You try to integrate AI into your processes, it's going to take more time. It's going to be slower. If I try to integrate it into my processes, it's even slower, Derek. So if you are a small company, now is the time to pivot. Now is the time to take advantage. And people are going to be looking for cheaper or reduced cost options. I'm not saying they're the best customers. I'm not saying that it's right or wrong. I'm just telling you. So in 2008, that's how I built my agency. I built the bulk of our base because people were looking for cheaper options compared to the phone book. So if you are small, that's your opportunity right now. So you pivot, move 10 degrees, do it differently than everybody else, charge less, build up your base. Great opportunity. People are actually looking for that. So that's number one. Number two is if you're bigger, the bigger you are, you can't pivot and you're like, man, I don't know how to do that just because of the circumstances of what I'm in. Then what you have to figure out is you have to figure out how to articulate your value more clearly and get closer to the money. And that's what you've been talking about, Derek. If you are far away from the money, then more than likely you're going to get cut or be reduced. And the closer you get to the money, and I know you're probably going to ask me, well, what does that mean, get closer to the money? Getting closer to the money means you have to show how your efforts generate revenue. You have to show that. And this is true for employees too, Derek. If you're a team member on someone's team, you need to, and we have a bunch of agency owners listening, right? So which employee are you going to keep? An employee who just does a task every single day that you're like, I don't even know really what value that brings. We might be able to, replace that with AI. Or somebody who says, I know that my work is bringing 4 new sales every single month.
Yeah.
Which one are you going to keep? The one that's closer to the money. Like that's the one you're going to keep if you have to cut somebody. That's the same thing for the agency. The closer you can get to the money inside of these businesses that you're helping, the more you're going to make. And then then you have to articulate it over and over and over and over and over again.
Really, the number one thing I'm hearing, whether you're the small fish or the little fish, is find your market, your competitive advantage, and just be consistent. It's going to be really difficult. It's going to be way harder than it was a year ago. I'm going through it right now, but there is still opportunity to grow. So despite bringing it back to a case by case situation here, like for me, we're not growing as fast nor nearly as much as we want to be, but it's not like we're not growing. There are still opportunities out there. I just had a sales meeting yesterday. Like, there is opportunity out there. And bottom line, I just got to figure out how to get closer to the money. So is that about right? Just be consistent, push through, find your competitive advantage. If you're a smaller fish, pivot, offer it for cheaper, use that as your advantage, build up your base so that when we're in the good times again, you'll be looking back and say, oh, wait a minute, I have an agency doing $200,000 a month now, and now it's way easier because I can raise rates on all these people because we're in a good economy, and I just went from $200,000 a month to $375,000 a month for less work, and now we can make more money.
I would add to that, the one thing that you missed on it is you missed the portion about communicating value. You have to get better at communicating your value.
So how?
Yeah, so you have to actually talk about it and then go over, here are the things that we're doing for you. And you have to do that more often. You have to meet with them more often. So if you're only meeting with your clients quarterly, time to crank that up to a month. If you're only meeting with your clients once a month, time to crank that up to every week. And then you have to show value. That's the tricky part. Because if you're not providing value, then you're probably going to lose business. So that's the more the closer you can get to the money and showing value, the easier it is to show value. Oh, we made 10 videos and those 10 videos turned into 10 sales.
Yeah.
No one's cutting you. You're good. But if you're like, we made 10 videos and we got 100,000 views from those 10 videos, which is awesome. And what did that do for us overall? And you can't articulate that. That's where it gets harder.
So that's the problem. You got to get closer to the money. I love it. One of the things, a quick side note before we wrap up is, I love the idea. So I've always hated paid ads. They've kind of scared me. I don't know why. So I'm really interested in learning how they work, because the idea of not having to do cold outreach and investing like $1,000 a month and filling my calendar, and actually Liam in the mastermind was talking about it one of the times. And if you want the mastermind, link below to apply. But in the mastermind, he was talking about how he was using TikTok ads with like $50 a day, and he was having 10 sales meetings a day and closing a few clients a month from that. The idea of being able to do that, the scale of that is so much bigger. The problem is you got to have an opportunity and a vehicle that can support that kind of growth and that kind of investment.
You do, and you have to also have a longer buying cycle because you're dealing with cold.
Why do you say that?
Because you're dealing with even more cold leads, right? Like email is the same way though. So it's probably be similar to what you're doing with cold email outreach.
Interesting. Okay, yeah, because you're saying they don't really know too much of your stuff. So first meeting, you're probably not going to close them. You need to expect to book them in. No, that makes total sense. Well, look, bottom line, I think we've really helped here. Anybody who's starting an agency, or anybody who's a little bit bigger, who's already started seeing a little bit of that resistance, be consistent. Don't give up. Keep going. You're not alone. I think that's the biggest thing from this episode. You are not alone. Gary's feeling it. I'm feeling it. Everybody in between Gary and I are feeling it. Everyone below Gary and I are feeling it in the space of the game of agency growth. And it's just got to be consistent. And I think that the biggest people that are in a position to win here are those smaller fish that can capture bits and pieces of the market share. Like even in my space, and anybody listening who's anything related to the editing world sees this. Everybody and their mother wants to be an agency. But if you just pivoted and said you're a freelancer, people would be much more inclined to hire you, and you'll make way more money. And that doesn't mean you can't have a team. So just because you're saying, oh, I'm Derek, I edit videos, doesn't mean you can't have John help you edit those videos. It just means you hire and you sell yourself as Derek who edits videos. You'll eventually even be able to charge much more for that down the line as well, but cheaper upfront now because you have the editing expertise.
100%.
New mic, I'm still getting used to
you're
it.
good.
But hey,
you're good.
Gary, anything else to add in there?
That's it.
Perfect. Hey, if you guys enjoyed today's video, please consider leaving us a like if you're watching on YouTube. If you are listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, help us grow and reach the top charts. I hope this podcast is providing value. If it's not, please let us know by leaving a review. All we ask for is honest reviews. If we provided value anytime to you in the past or from this episode, leave us a review and share this episode with somebody you think might benefit from it. If you know an agency owner or somebody who wants to start an agency, let them listen to this first as a warning of what they need to expect when they enter the agency space at this current moment. And check us out on TikTok, Instagram Reels, and YouTube Shorts. Clips going up daily. Gary, we just had one do like 75,000 views, actually. The one about you and the employee who worked with pizza delivery as well. So that video popped off for you. It popped off on other platforms as well, personally for you. And then I think we have one coming up on Dental Rift, which I'm excited about as well, which is one of Gary's podcasts there. So with that said, guys, thanks for watching and listening. And until next time, peace.